On my wedding day, my sister walked down the aisle in a wedding dress and declared, "He chose me instead." My mom clapped and said, "We knew you'd understand." My groom just laughed and said, "Oh, you have no idea what's about to happen." Then he pulled out his phone and pressed play. I was supposed to have the happiest day of my life. The venue was perfect, a historic mansion outside of Chicago with ivy-covered walls and stained glass windows. My dress, a lace masterpiece my grandmother had saved for me, was altered to fit like a glove. Everything was set. I should have known something was off when my mom kept giving me those tight-lipped smiles, the kind that screamed, "Just go along with it." But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. The music started. Bridesmaids walked down the aisle one by one, pastel dresses flowing. My heart pounded. I was minutes away from marrying the love of my life. Then, just as the processional ended and the guests turned expectantly, something changed. The music cut to silence, and my sister, Valerie, walked down the aisle in a wedding dress. At first, I thought I was hallucinating, but no. There she was, in a white gown, a smug smile stretched across her face, holding a bouquet. The whispering started immediately. I was frozen in place, bouquet clutched so tightly my fingers ached. Then she opened her mouth. "He chose me instead." I couldn't process it. My sister, my own flesh and blood, stood at the end of the aisle in a wedding dress and said, "He chose me." The guests gasped. Someone audibly whispered, "Oh my God." Then my mother, my own mother, started clapping. Clapping. "We knew you'd understand," she said, beaming like this was some kind of sick family reunion. I was shaking. My dad had his head in his hands, looking mortified, but he didn't say a word. And then my groom, Michael, laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not a confused laugh, but a deep, satisfied chuckle, like he had just pulled off the greatest trick of all time. "Oh, you have no idea what's about to happen," he said. Then he pulled out his phone, pressed play, and everything changed. The room was dead silent. Even the birds outside seemed to pause. Michael held his phone high, his thumb hovering over the screen. He looked at Valerie, then my mother, and then finally at me. His smirk never wavered. "Let's show everyone the truth," he said. Then he hit play. A video started. The screen lit up, and the room filled with sound. At first, it was just grainy security footage. Someone walking into a hotel room. Then another angle, a closer shot, clearer. The person in the video was Valerie. She was smiling, stepping inside. A man was already in the room, waiting for her. A man who was not Michael. My mother's face blanched. Valerie's smug smile twisted into something ugly. The video continued. There was no mistaking what was happening. Valerie giggled, arms wrapped around the man's neck. He kissed her, and she let him, and then she spoke. "He's an idiot," Valerie's voice rang out from the phone. "He actually thinks I love him. I'm just keeping him warm until the real deal comes along." The room exploded. Gasps, murmurs. Someone in the back actually yelled, "Holy shit." My hands were still shaking, but now with rage. My sister, had tried to humiliate me in front of everyone, only for Michael to turn the tables. Valerie spun to Michael, eyes wild. You set me up." He lowered the phone. "I didn't have to," he said smoothly. "You did this all on your own." My mother finally found her voice. This isn't what it looks like," she stammered, her eyes darting between me and Valerie. Valerie is the one for him. You would have understood eventually." I felt like I was going to throw up, but Michael wasn't done. "Oh, I understand just fine," he said. He tucked his phone back into his pocket and turned to the crowd. "Would you like to hear the best part?" Valerie shrank back, her hands trembling. "Michael, no, let's tell them," he interrupted. "Let's talk about how your mother helped set this up. How she encouraged Valerie to steal me away. How she convinced her that she was better suited for me because she always thought I was too good for her other daughter." My mother took a step back. Someone in the front row gasped. And then Michael pulled out a second phone, because of course he had another phone. "You might recognize this voice," he said. Then he hit play. It was my mother. "She's not smart enough for him, Val," my mother's voice said. "She's nice, sure, but you're better. You're meant to be the wife of a man like Michael. She'll get over it." My knees nearly buckled. A cold, sharp laugh tore through the crowd. It came from someone's aunt, maybe a distant cousin, but it spread like wildfire. Then came the murmuring, the shifting, the weight of judgment. Valerie was breathing heavily, her white dress now a mockery of the day. "You knew," she hissed at Michael. "This whole time, you knew, and you played along." Michael stepped closer, looking her right in the eye. "I wanted everyone to see exactly what kind of person you are." Valerie's hands clenched into fists. She turned to my mother, eyes wild. "You said this would work. You said she'd accept it." My mother looked ready to faint. "Do you still think I'll get over it?" I said, my voice cold. She opened her mouth, closed it. Then the whispering in the crowd turned into something new. Laughter. Not warm laughter, cruel laughter. People were shaking their heads, whispering to each other, pointing. I didn't know who started clapping, but soon others joined in, not applause, but a slow, mocking clap that made my mother physically flinch. Valerie turned red. "Shut up," she screamed. "All of you, this was my day. My moment. You don't understand." Michael cut her off. "Your moment?" He gave a short laugh. "Valerie, this is my wedding. You crushed it. You humiliated yourself. You tried to ruin my life, and now you're just a joke." She took a step back, her face a storm of emotions. Then my mother grabbed her arm. We need to go, my mother whispered, her voice sharp with panic. No. Valerie yanked away. I can fix this. She turned to me. You don't deserve him. I didn't answer. I just looked at her. And I think, in that moment, she realized it. She lost. Michael turned to me. Are you okay? I wasn't sure, but I was done letting them have power over me. So I took a breath, straightened my spine, and I said, oh, I have no idea what's about to happen next. And the room erupted. The laughter, the whispers, the gasps, it was all too much. But I stood my ground. Valerie looked like she was about to combust. My mother was shaking. And Michael was still smirking, like this was the grand finale of a play he'd written himself. But the thing about revenge is, it doesn't always go the way you plan. Because that's when he walked in. The doors at the back of the venue creaked open, and in stepped a man in a dark suit. Not part of the wedding, not a guest. He moved with purpose, a phone in one hand, an envelope in the other. His eyes scanned the room before they landed on Michael. The entire crowd turned to watch. Michael's smirk faltered. I didn't know who this man was, but Michael did. Mr. Wright, the man said, his voice cool and professional, we need to talk. Michael exhaled sharply. Not now. The man raised an eyebrow. Oh, I think now is the perfect time. And just like that, the power in the room shifted. Michael, who had been so in control, who had just destroyed Valerie and my mother, suddenly looked cornered. I turned fully to face him. What's going on? Michael looked at me, then back at the man. I said, not now. The man ignored him. He lifted his phone, hit play, and another recording started. This time, it wasn't about Valerie or my mother. This time, it was Michael's voice. Just keep her happy for now, Michael's voice said. I need her family to like me. Once the business deal is done, I can drop her. The room froze. My stomach dropped. Michael's voice continued. Her dad is the real target. He's been looking for a buyer, and I need to be in his good graces. Once the ink is dry, I'll make up some excuse to call off the wedding, but I need her completely on my side first. A sharp choking sound escaped me. Michael was using me. It wasn't real. I looked at him, hoping for something, a denial, an explanation. But all I saw was panic. Pure, unfiltered panic. The man in the suit, whoever he was, paused the recording. Would you like me to continue? He asked. Michael lunged for him, but the man sidestepped smoothly, handing the phone. You can click on share and more to see if there is a part 2. Final update. On my wedding day, my sister walked down the aisle in a wedding dress and declared, he chose me instead. My mom clapped and said, we knew you'd understand. My groom just laughed and said, oh, you have no idea what's about to happen. Then he pulled out his phone and pressed play. Part 2. Off to someone in the crowd, someone who immediately pressed play again. And now everyone could hear. I don't even like her, Michael's voice continued. She's just easy. She trusts too much. Makes her the perfect mark. A stunned silence followed. Then someone whispered, holy shit. And that was it. The room erupted, gasps, outrage, people turning to me, to Michael, to each other. My father, who had been silent this whole time, stood up so fast his chair screeched against the floor. Michael spun around, his face pale. Wait, but my dad was already moving. One punch, a single, solid punch to Michael's jaw. Michael collapsed. Screams, shouts, some people cheered, while others just gawked. And me? I just stood there. My sister had betrayed me. My mother had betrayed me. And now Michael, who I thought was the love of my life, had been playing me this whole time. I felt hollow, empty. I looked at Valerie, expecting her to gloat, but she wasn't. She was staring at Michael with something like shock, maybe even horror, because in her twisted mind, she thought he actually wanted her. She took a step forward. Michael, you shut up, Michael snapped. He wiped blood from his lip, still on the ground. You ruined everything, he said. Valerie's mouth snapped shut. I almost laughed. She thought she was the mastermind, thought she was special, but she was just another pawn, just like me. And then, for the first time, I spoke. You were both using me, I said. My voice was eerily calm. All this time, Michael sat up, rubbing his jaw. I was going to tell you, he started, but I cut him off. When silence fell, Valerie shook her head, like she couldn't accept it. But he chose me, she said. Michael laughed. Not the charming, confident laugh from earlier, this one was bitter. Oh, please, he said. You are just convenient. If Valerie looked horrified before, now she looked wrecked. Tears welled in her eyes. You love me, she said, but Michael scoffed. You were a backup plan, that's all you've ever been. And for the first time, I saw it. Valerie wasn't just selfish, she was desperate. She had spent her whole life trying to be the center of attention, trying to prove she was better than me. But now she wasn't even the main villain in this story. She was just another fool. My mother was still trying to process everything, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. My father was fuming. And me? I looked at my goal, really looked at him. He wasn't the charming, perfect man I had fallen in love with. He was nothing. And then I turned to the man in the suit. Who are you? I asked. He smiled faintly. Let's just say I work for someone who really doesn't like liars. My father's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, his face shifting as he read something. Then he looked at Michael and smiled. Something was happening, something bigger. And I had a feeling this wasn't over, not even close. Michael was still sitting on the floor, his lip bleeding, looking furious. My mother hadn't moved, standing stiff like she could still will this moment into something different. And Valerie? Valerie was shaking. But the man in the suit, the one who had just exposed everything, wasn't finished. He pulled an envelope from his pocket and handed it to my father. "This is what you've been looking for," he said. Dad took the envelope with shaking hands. He opened it, scanning the papers inside. His face changed, first confusion, then understanding, and then rage. "Is this a joke?" he asked, his voice tight. "No joke," the man replied. "Just facts." Dad turned to Michael, his hand curling into a fist again. You were planning to screw me over?" The guests were frozen, watching like they had front row seats to a disaster. I took a step forward, trying to understand. "Dad, what is it?" He didn't answer me. Instead, he held up the papers. "These," Dad said, his voice shaking, "are documents transferring my business shares to Michael without my approval." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Michael didn't deny it. He just stared. Valerie, still in her stupid white dress, turned to him with wide eyes. "You were after money," she said. Michael gave a bitter laugh. "What? Did you think I actually wanted you?" I watched her face crumble. This was it, the moment everything shattered. Valerie let out a horrible sound, somewhere between a sob and a scream. She grabbed Michael's arm, like she could force him to change his mind. "But you love me. You chose me," she said. Michael yanked his arm away. "You were convenient," he said. "I had to make sure your mom would back me if your dad ever got suspicious. And you were dumb enough to play along." Tears rolled down her face. "You're a monster," she whispered. Michael didn't deny it. "And my mother," she had the nerve to turn to me and say, "See, this is why we wanted you to step aside. He's ambitious. He has a plan," I laughed, a short, sharp, exhausted laugh. "You're defending him?" I asked. She lifted her chin. Valerie just wasn't careful. If she had played it smarter, this wouldn't be happening. Even Valerie turned to her in shock. "Mom," she choked out, Are you seriously saying this is my fault?" Mom didn't even hesitate. "You should have waited. You pushed too hard." Something inside Valerie snapped. She turned fully to my mother, her shoulders shaking. "I did everything for you," she whispered. "I ruined my relationship with my sister for you. And now that it's falling apart, you're blaming me?" For the first time in my life, I saw true pain in Valerie's eyes. She looked at me, then said, "I'm sorry," her voice raw. And I could tell she actually meant it, but it was too late. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her, my silence heavier than any words I could have thrown at her. She sobbed once, then turned and ran out of the venue. Mom moved to follow her, but Dad stopped her. "We're done," he said coldly. "Mom, you chose this?" he said. "You and Valerie, you almost handed everything to Michael, and I can't trust either of you anymore." Her mouth opened and closed, but Dad continued. "You're not welcome in my home," he said. "Not after this." And just like that, the woman who had spent her life manipulating people suddenly had nothing. She turned to me, her last hope. I shook my head, and she finally understood. She turned and left, following after Valerie. The moment they were gone, the tension in the room broke. Guests started whispering. Some looked thrilled, like they had just witnessed the best drama of their lives. Others looked horrified. Michael stood slowly, wiping his bloody lip. He turned to me. "You believed in us," he sneered. "You wanted this." And finally, I felt nothing for him. I stepped closer, looked him dead in the eyes. "You are the biggest mistake I ever made," I said. He flinched, just a little. Then the man in the suit, the one who had started all of this, smiled. "Oh, by the way," he said casually, "the police should be here soon. Those fake documents, that's fraud." Michael froze. "What? You tried to steal from a man worth millions," the man said. "Did you think there wouldn't be consequences?" Michael panicked. He turned, as if looking for a way out, but there was none. Red and blue lights flashed outside. The police were here, and just like that, Michael was done. Closure. The wedding, obviously, was ruined. People left in a rush, some excitedly gossiping, others shaking their heads. Dad stayed with me. He put a hand on my shoulder, squeezing gently. "I should have seen it sooner," he admitted. I exhaled shakily. "I should have too." He nodded. "But we know now, and that's what matters." The man in the suit approached again. "Sorry about the mess," he said. I let out a breathy laugh. "Who are you?" He smiled. "Just someone who really hates liars." And then he was gone. I didn't cry that night. I thought I would. I thought I'd feel wrecked, but instead, I felt free. I had lost a sister. I had lost a fiancé. But I had also lost every single person who had been holding me back. And when I finally went to bed that night, I slept better than I had in years. Because for the first time in my life, I was finally in control.
Here's the story time on how I made the first move on my husband, and if you have already heard this story, please keep scrolling. I'm sorry, but apparently there's a lot of new faces on here that haven't heard this story yet, so this one's for you. And yes, the entire reason that we are together now, today, is because I was the one that approached him and made the first move. Like, nothing would have ever happened if I had not done that. With that being said, we have to backtrack all the way back to like 2016, 2017. It was my first year out of high school, it was my first year of college, and I was working as a pharmacy tech at a pharmacy in my hometown, just working my way through college. So my hometown was super small, and there was not many Muslims there. Like, if there was, we knew every single Muslim there, especially if they're Arab. Like, we knew them. Like, there was nobody that we didn't know that was Muslim. I can't believe this was almost 9 years ago. Like, that's crazy. But I am just going into work. It was a Tuesday. I literally remember the exact day. And it was because on Tuesdays, that was the only day I could work a full day because of my college schedule. I did work some of the other days, but Tuesday was my only day that I was there in the morning, okay? It's a very important fact to remember. Anyways, I was actually feeling pretty sick that morning, but I don't know, me and who I am, like, even if I'm sick, I'm like, whatever, I still need to go to work, like, because I was, like, throwing up, but, oh my god, I shouldn't have went to work. It's so bad to say. I was literally throwing up, and I still went to work because I was like, it's okay, like, maybe it'll go away. And then I literally threw up in the parking lot. TMI, I'm sorry. I threw up in the parking lot, so I was like, okay, I can't go into work because I'm literally actively vomiting. So I walk into the pharmacy, and I would literally go up to the window. I don't want to go inside the pharmacy. I don't want to get anyone sick. So I go up to the window, and I'm like, hey, so I just threw up in the parking lot. And as I'm saying that, my eyes, like, go to behind the person I'm talking to, and I see this very attractive male, okay? Like, whoa, in my head, I'm like, who is that? I've never seen him before. He's never been in our pharmacy before. And I just literally told them that I threw up in the parking lot. He was looking at me. He heard everything. So anyways, I'm pretty sure they said the exact words, ew, why are you here? Go home. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't know why I'm here. So yeah, that was his first impression of me. That was my first impression of him. And I go about my merry way. I had to leave. I don't know. That was all I knew. There's a cute guy in the pharmacy. I don't know who he is, but I don't even know if he's going to be there next time. I just went home. I went to the doctor, actually. Turns out I had a stomach virus. Anyways, I was actually really sick. So then next Tuesday comes around. I'm feeling a lot better. And in my head, I'm like, I wonder if that guy's going to be there. So I walk in. He's there again. And then I start getting curious. I'm like, okay, he's here again. Like, what are you doing here? Turns out he was in pharmacy school. And they have to do clinical rotation, so he was placed at our pharmacy while going through school. I mean, subhanAllah, like, how crazy is that? Anyways, little by little, I start finding out things about him, like his name is Mustafa. So I didn't know he was Muslim. I didn't know he was Arab. Because my husband at the time, like, even now, I mean, I know he's Arab now, but, like, at the time, I was like, maybe he's mixed with something. Like, I didn't know exactly who he was, and especially because, like I told you, like, we knew all the Muslim Arabs, so I was like, okay, he has to be something else. But they kept calling him Mustafa, so I was like, okay. So he's definitely half Arab, but, like, what is his other half? Like, maybe he's half white. Like, I didn't know. So, yeah, they kept calling him Mustafa, so I, like, found his Instagram, found his profile. He's on private, so I didn't really find out much. And, like, at this point, my coworkers fully know I have this huge crush on this man I know nothing about. So they're, like, scheming, they're plotting, they're like, how can we get them together? Because, like, they're like, he's Arab, like, girl, we gotta get you together. But you guys, after I found out who's Arab, like, I go home, I tell my entire family, my mom, my siblings, my cousins, everyone knows about this man. And I literally told my mom, I said, Mama, I found my husband, like, he doesn't know who I am, literally doesn't even look at me, but I know he's my husband. You guys, by the way, I wasn't a hijabi, and they called me Mara, so he literally fully thought I was white, like, fully thought I was white. So he never, like, why would he approach me, you know what I mean? And that's what I mean, like, we would have never ever gotten together because he literally thought I was white. But anyways, I show my mom his profile. She's like, show me him. So I'm like, this is his Facebook, like, he had a picture, like, with his family, like his mom and his siblings. She was like, Meta, I know his mom. I was like, what do you mean you know his mom? Like, excuse me, what? She's like, yeah, like, I'm not really good friends with her, but, like, I know her, like, I've talked to her before, I've seen her at the masjid. So I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. So he's Muslim. I didn't know anything about him, so I'm like, oh my god, he's Arab, he's Muslim, like, this is my husband. So then I'm like, okay, yes, he's literally my husband. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we wasting time? Like, what am I doing? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk to him. Like, I'm just gonna go up to him, I'm gonna talk to him. It's actually a really funny story because I'm literally at home, I'm practicing to my cousins, I'm practicing to my siblings, to my mom, like, okay guys, this, like, I wrote out a script, like, this is what I'm gonna say to him, you guys pretend to be him, I'm me, like, let's reenact this, okay? So we literally practiced it so many times. Like, I had literally never approached a man in my life. I was 19 years old, like, what was I doing? I don't know. But anyways, I practiced, and then I built up the courage because he's there every Tuesday. And then they were like, oh, you, like, next week is his last week. And I'm like, oh my god, I have to make my move. Like, this is it. This is my time. Because I'm never going to see this man again. Like, this guy, he's, like, so serious, okay? First of all, super shy. super serious, like all about his studies. So when he was there, like never didn't really look at me, like didn't really talk, and like he's just like straight like focused. He was turning his back to me. I'm like, it's now or never, Mara. It's now or never. So I'm like, built up the courage, and what do? I literally tap him on his shoulder because I'm like, what am I gonna say? Like he's like he's like facing away from me. Tap him on his shoulder, and he looks at me. He turns around. He's like super, like his face looks like he's terrified. What is this girl about to say to me? So I'm like, hi, are you Arab? Like that's literally what I said. That's what I had practiced at home because I'm like, that's the only thing that I don't know what else to say. And you guys, you should have seen his face. It looked like he had seen a ghost. He was so scared. He's like, this girl's about to hate crime me. Like this little girl is about to hate crime me. He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, like I am too. And when I said that, you guys, his face completely changed. And then I think I said like, do you know Arabic? Like I can't remember exactly what else I said, but we talked for like literally like a few minutes. And then he had to like go back to like doing his work. But he said after that, he like went home, searched me up, and he showed his mom. He was like, do you know them? And she was like, yeah, like I know them from a while ago. So yeah, that's how we met. And that is how I made the first move on my husband. He literally told me I was never gonna approach you because I thought you were American. I thought you were white. Had no idea you were Muslim. Had no idea you were Arab. So yeah, you guys, I just think that's so crazy. Like if I never did that, like we literally would have never met, and that would have been that. But it was so insane because something inside of me just kept telling me like, this is your husband. Like he's your husband. He's your husband. Like I don't know what it was. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever experienced. And it literally came true. Like I just can't describe it. It's the weirdest thing. It was just no sleep, and I thank Allah every day for sending me my husband like straight to my work, straight to my job. Like I didn't have to go very far to find him, but I did have to put in a little bit of work to get him because I made the first move, obviously. But that's okay, and it's okay to make the first move. That's why I always give that advice. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the story time. After that, we added each other on socials, and he got my number, and we just started texting, and yeah, the rest is history. We've been married 5.5 years now. We have a 3-year-old baby boy, and just alhamdulillah for everything. And I'm sorry if this was way too long. I swear, I told myself don't make it too long, and then it's literally like so long. But I love you guys so much. Bye.
Am I the asshole for wearing white to my wedding? I recently got married to the love of my life, Jay. We had a perfect wedding except for one thing. My mother-in-law's freak out when she saw my dress. When we had gone dress shopping, I invited her and I found my perfect dress. My husband's family has a tradition of always wearing blush dresses on their wedding day. They told me about this before, and I respectfully said I would wear whatever color dress my perfect dress was. Once I finally found it, it was white. Mother-in-law asked me to ask if they could alter it to make it blush, or to find a new dress if they couldn't. I said I would ask, but if they couldn't, then that was that. Long story short, they couldn't, and I showed up to my wedding in a white dress. All through the ceremony, mother-in-law was seething. During the reception, she pulled me aside and asked why my dress was white. I told her that I didn't want to find a new dress and they couldn't alter it. She said it was a tradition and she was disappointed that I had broke it. Jay also said that he was disappointed when I walked down the aisle in a white dress. Was I the asshole?
That's the husband?
Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Was I the asshole? I could have just changed my dress.
No.
There are some comments from OP. So someone goes, you're the asshole for not being honest. You could have just said you didn't want to wear a dress like that. Or you could have told them before the wedding your dress is white.
Okay, that's actually a good point. I kind of skipped over that, but I was thinking that why were they all surprised when she came out? Like,
I think because she said because the mother-in-law was like, can you alter it? Or like if they can't change your dress.
But she said I will look into it, and if not, then I'm not going to.
Yeah. So her response is, I was honest. I told her that I wasn't going to do it. But she said that she thought I was joking.
Ah!
He sounded like a velociraptor.
I know. I just love responses like that. Well, what? Okay.
Okay, so next comment though. Mm-hmm. Not the asshole. Why is it a tradition that they wear blush? I'm just being nosy. OP goes, apparently Jay's great-great-great-grandma wore white and she died right after. as well as some other deaths in the family associated with wearing white on your wedding day. But Jay's great aunt wore blush, and she had a long, happy marriage with lots of children and didn't die until she was 90 or something.
Whoa.
I don't know, really.
Okay, honestly, that's kind of a dope tradition then.
I still wouldn't do it, but that's really cool for them.
My cousin made my wedding about her future baby, so I made her wedding about everyone's future marriages. Allison couldn't let anyone else have their moment. At our cousin Jamie's beach wedding, she grabbed the mic during toasts to announce her divorce. During our cousin Alex's first dance, she loudly told everyone at our table she was pregnant. At my best friend's reception, she stood on a chair during the cake cutting to reveal she was moving to Paris. That moment of chaos at her reception was nothing compared to what awaited me 3 months later at my wedding. Everything was going perfectly until the speeches started. My maid of honor was halfway through her beautiful toast when Allison stood up. She clinked her glass dramatically and walked to the front. She took the microphone right out of my friend's hand. "Sorry, but I have something important to share while everyone's here," she announced. She pulled her boyfriend Craig up beside her. She told the entire room they were adopting a baby from Korea. My guests erupted in confused congratulations while my maid of honor stood there holding her speech cards uselessly. The rest of my reception became the Allison show. People kept coming up to her for details about the adoption. Someone started a collection for baby supplies using the envelope box meant for our cards. The photographer spent 20 minutes doing an impromptu photo shoot of her and Craig. My mom found me crying in the bathroom and told me I was being dramatic. "She's just excited about becoming a mother," she said. "You should be happy for family." My aunt agreed that Allison was just enthusiastic about sharing good news. 2 months later at Sunday dinner, Allison announced her wedding date. She went on and on about her vintage Hollywood glamour theme. She'd already booked the historic Grandview Manor downtown. Craig sat there nodding while she showed everyone her Pinterest boards. "I want it to be absolutely perfect," she gushed. "No interruptions or distractions, just all eyes on us for once." The irony nearly choked me, but I smiled and said it sounded lovely. That night I started planning. Allison's fatal flaw was her complete blindness to her own behavior. She genuinely believed she was just sharing joy. She couldn't understand why anyone would mind. She also had zero ability to handle competition for attention. I reached out to my college theater friends first. My roommate Macy ran an improv group that specialized in flash mobs and public performances. When I explained my idea, she literally cackled with delight. Within a week, I had 12 performers committed to the cause. The tricky part was getting them into the wedding. I studied Allison's guest list when she left it at my mom's house. Several couples had generic +1 RSVPs. Macy's performers could pose as dates for single guests I knew. I reached out to these friends and explained the situation. Every single one wanted to help after hearing about my wedding. The wedding was as over the top as expected. Allison had 7 bridesmaids and released doves during the ceremony. The reception ballroom dripped with crystals and white roses. My performers were scattered perfectly throughout the room as planned guests. Everything started during dinner service. At exactly 6:30, Macy stood up at table 4 and let out a shriek. Her fake boyfriend was on one knee between the salad and soup courses. The whole room turned to watch as she said yes. He slipped a costume jewelry ring on her finger. Allison's smile froze, but she started clapping along with everyone else. At 6:45, during the champagne toast preparation, a commotion erupted near the bar. 2 male actors were doing their proposal with 4 friends singing behind them. Half the wedding guests abandoned their seats to watch. Craig had to physically hold Allison back from marching over there. By 7 o'clock, when the best man started his speech, 3 more proposals had happened. One by the photo booth and another on the dance floor. A third couple near the wedding cake. The photographer was sprinting between moments trying to capture everything. Allison grabbed the mic from her best man. "Excuse me, everyone, but this is my wedding," she screeched. Right then, my friend Romina stood up at table 12. She was Craig's actual coworker who I recruited. "Oh my god, I'm pregnant," she announced. "I just got the call from my doctor. Twins." The room exploded in chaos. People rushed to congratulate her while Allison stood frozen at the microphone. Craig looked confused since he knew Romina was single. More staged proposals started happening during the confusion. Then the grand finale kicked in. 6 more couples got engaged simultaneously around the room. Macy had given each couple specific spots to maximize visibility. The band got confused and started playing the only romantic song they could think of. The wedding coordinator was frantically trying to restore order. Allison threw her bouquet at the ground and stormed out. Craig chased after her while the fake couples kept celebrating. The older relatives thought it was planned entertainment. My aunt told everyone Allison was so creative with her interactive wedding theme. She came back 20 minutes later with mascara streaks. She doesn't make announcements at family events anymore. She also hired security for her baby shower.
There's this girl going viral on the internet right now because she flew all the way out to Scotland for one of her friend's weddings just to find out that she wasn't invited to eat dinner with all of the other wedding guests. For the sake of the story, we're going to call our main character Amy. So Amy and her other friend Jill are invited to one of their friends' weddings in Scotland. And so they decide to book all of their travel arrangements together and go together all the way to Scotland for their friend's wedding. When they get to Scotland, they go to the bed and breakfast that they booked. It's run by this little sweet lady, and she offers to drive them to the wedding the next day. The day of the wedding, the bed and breakfast lady drives them to the ceremony. The ceremony's beautiful as expected. And after the ceremony, they remind everybody to go out to this other venue for the reception dinner. Amy and Jill call the bed and breakfast lady and ask if she can transport them over to the dinner. When they arrive for the dinner, they notice that there are seating charts at the entrance. So they're looking at the seating chart, trying to find their names on it to figure out where they need to sit. All of a sudden, the security person walks up and asks them to
快手
see their
拥抱
invitation.
每一种生
And
活
they travel a long ways.
This woman was kicked out of bed by her husband on the first day of their marriage. She was very confused about it. However, the husband told her to sleep on the couch. Feeling helpless, the woman curled up on the sofa for the night. But the husband, who suffered from insomnia, tossed and turned in bed. So he quietly came over to the couch and lay down beside his wife. The next morning, the woman opened her eyes and was shocked to find her husband next to her. The husband, upon waking up, was also very flustered. He could only lie and say that his pillow was uncomfortable. The next night, the woman changed the pillow for her husband. Then she returned to the couch and pretended to fall asleep. When the husband once again sneaked over to her, the woman suddenly opened her eyes and teasingly asked if he was sleepwalking. Facing her question, the husband insisted it was still the pillow's fault, so they switched pillows. The woman got ready to go back to sleep. The husband, seeing this,
快手
awkwardly returned to the
拥抱每
bed.
一种生
However,
活
he still couldn't sleep. He sneaked back over to the couch again. But he didn't know that the woman hadn't slept all night. She gently stroked his sleeping face. When the woman found out her husband had gone to a business meeting late at night, she wanted to make him a bowl of porridge. But suddenly, she received a call from her husband, asking her to bring some documents to the banquet. Since the woman didn't have an invitation, she was stopped by security at the entrance. At that moment, a female supervisor who had a crush on the man arrived. She mocked the woman for trying to enter without an invitation. Just then, the husband's assistant arrived. The supervisor smugly assumed the assistant was there to pick her up, but when she saw the assistant escort the woman inside, she was furious, so she decided to ruin the woman's reputation at the banquet. What she didn't know was that the woman was the CEO's wife, whom no one had met before. She mocked the woman, claiming she must have seduced a rich man to get in. The woman didn't want to argue and was about to leave, but the supervisor grabbed her. In the struggle, the woman lost her balance.
快手
At that moment,
拥抱
her
每
husband
一种
arrived.
生活